We are bringing to you live pictures and now the arrival of the presidential convoy. As you can see, that SUV bearing the license plate number 1, indicating that the President and the First Lady are on board that vehicle as it enters the palace gates. The President is expected, we'd like to remind our viewers, to actually meet now with the new members of his cabinet. Although there are still some portfolios, I believe, that have not yet been fully filled up. Most notably, I think, the health portfolio.
Given that we're in the middle of a pandemic still.
Yes, that still has, that remains to be seen on who President Marcos will nominate to fill up that position. And now we see the SUV bearing the first couple has already stopped at the palace driveway, and we expect that momentarily President Marcos and First Lady Lisa Araneta Marcos will be disembarking from that vehicle. And our correspondent on the ground in Malacañang is there to give us more details. Vivian Gullia now joins us live from Malacañang. Vivian.
Tony, Carmina, good afternoon. Newly sworn in Philippine President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. has finally arrived here in Malacañang. As you can see, his vehicle is parked right outside the Malacañang Palace, and we are just waiting for him and his First Lady to get off. He will come back this time as the country's chief executive, 36 years after his family left the Malacañang Palace. Arrival honors will be held for Marcos before he would go up the traditional Malacañang stairs, a symbolism of his ascent to the country's top post. Marcos will administer the oath of office to his cabinet members this afternoon, expected to be followed with a meeting where Marcos will outline the priorities of his administration. Tony, we can see from the live feed from RTVM that Marcos has already gotten off his vehicle and is now preparing for the arrival honors. And now going back to the oath-taking of his cabinet members. Among his cabinet secretaries, Department of Education Vice President-elect Sara Duterte, Department of Interior and Local Government Secretary Ben-Hur Abalos Jr. He also selected Attorney Vic Rodriguez as his executive secretary. As we know, Executive Secretary Rodriguez served as his spokesperson during the campaign period. Department of Migrant Workers, Secretary Susan Tuts Ople. The President also appointed Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla for the Secretary post of the Department of Justice, Bienvenido Legesma for the Department of Labor and Employment, Arsenio Balisacan for the National Economic and Development Authority, Benjamin Docno to head the Department of Finance, Governor Felipe Medalla for Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, Alfredo Pascual for the Department of Trade and Industry, Manuel Bonoan for the Department of Public Works and Highways, Special Assistant to the President Antonio Lagdameo Jr., Attorney Trixie Cruz Angeles for Presidential Communications and Operations Office, Erwin Tulfo as Secretary of the Department of Social Welfare and Development, Amena Pangandaman for the Department of Budget and Management, Ivan John Uy for DICT Secretary, Zenaida Angting as Presidential Management Staff, Christina Frasco for the Department of Tourism, Clarita Carlos for the National Security Advisor, Conrado Estrella as Secretary of the Department of Agrarian Reform, Menardo Guevara as Solicitor General, Juan Ponce Enrile as Chief Presidential Legal Advisor. But as we know, Enrile earlier mentioned that he contracted COVID, so he may not be able to attend the oath-taking this afternoon. Other cabinet secretaries are Jose Faustino Jr. for the Department of National Defense, Ricardo De Leon for the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency. Also, we are still awaiting for Marcos's pick to head critical agencies such as the Department of Health, Foreign Affairs, Environment, Energy, and Science and Technology. An inaugural dinner will be held here in Malacañang at 7 p.m. Carmina and Tony, back to you.
Tanghal. Ta! Lupanan. Tanghal. Ta. Baba. Ta. Handa. Dala. Kalis. Baba. Ta. Mahal na Pangulo, tapos na po parangal.
Bago po ang aking pasasalamat sa inyong paghandog ng pagdangal sa ating mga sundalo.
Mga kasama, pinapabot ng ating ika-17 Pangulo ng Republika ng Pilipinas, Pangulong Ferdinand Romualdez Marcos Jr., ang kanyang taos-pusong pasasalamat sa parangal na ating ginawad sa kanya sa hapong ito. Baba. Kalis.
All right, we just witnessed the arrival honors for President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., as well, of course, for the First Lady, Lisa Araneta Marcos. And as we see them now walking along the red carpet, that will take them, of course, inside the presidential palace. The President and the First Lady, accompanied by their three sons. Yeah, that's the newly elected Congressman Sandro Marcos, the 1st District Representative in Ilocos Norte. Also, can you help us out here? Simon is the one to the right of the First Lady. Is that right?
So. I believe
and walking behind them is Vincent.
Right.
That's right. All right. Now we have to get used to actually seeing the three children of the first couple in Malacañang. But of course, the duties of the congressman, he will mostly be at the House of Representatives instead of at the palace.
But he's also going to be one of those, Tony, that will be taking his oath today before his father. He hasn't taken his oath yet as a duly elected congressman. He waited for this moment for his father to be the one to administer his oath.
Right. And the President and the First Lady and their children are waving to well-wishers who are assembled there along the palace driveway. Mostly, I suppose, the staff working in the different offices in Malacañang, as well as, of course, the other guests who are also there in the presidential palace.
Yeah, and Special Assistant to the President, Anton Lagdameo, right there behind him, and of course, Attorney Vic Rodriguez.
The Executive Secretary. All right, well, we're just actually seeing one of the final events of today's ceremonies for the inaugural of President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. But this will be capped tonight by an inaugural concert. Now it's starting to rain. The weather seems to have cooperated up to this point. Yeah, that they had actually really good weather, balmy weather actually, at the Legislative Building, the National Museum, where President Marcos took his oath earlier today at noon. And we will be seeing more, I guess, of the President and the First Lady and their children at the inaugural dinner tonight in Malacañang. I don't know if there's any word if they will be attending the inaugural concert as well at the Quirino Grandstand. Anyway, we'll be going back now to our guest, Melinda Quintos de Jesus from the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility. So, Melinda, before we wrap up, maybe we can hear some of your thoughts as to how media's relationship with this new administration will be like and can be like maybe within the next 6 years. Melinda?
I actually have said again and again that any new administration requires the media to work with the perspective of what's happened in the past, meaning the problems are quite clear. The book is not a new story. What is done and how it is done and how quickly or how well and effectively and efficiently it is done is what the media needs to do. I don't think the media should worry too much about what faces them in terms of danger or endangerment. We all have seen that happen in the past already. It is also not new. What happened to ABS-CBN, what happened to Rappler, what may happen to Rappler even more. I mean, these are not new. They're already established as part of what challenges us, given the kinds of governments our people tend to want to raise to power. So the challenge really needs for us to get down to the kind of journalism that we must produce, not so we can be covering this per se, but so that a more enabled and more empowered national community is able to protect itself, is able to demand its own rights, and make sure that it is the watchdog itself of the power.
All right. All right. Melinda, Casey and I would like to thank you for joining us on our special coverage today.
Thank you.